Chase a bitch. Put your mask on. Chase a bitch. Never chase a bitch.
Group B table looks now after 2 matches played. Portugal and Spain level at the top on 4 points, identical goal difference too. Iran still very much in it, so it will all hinge on the results in those remaining 2 fixtures. Spain against Morocco and Iran against Portugal. So Group B very much alive. So
his 85th international goal. He's now the top scoring European player of all time. That goal today brings him ahead of Puskás. He's a little bit more to catch Ali Dai, who's the world record holder with 109 goals. But Ronaldo certainly enjoyed today. And I suppose, guys, look, like his day and the Portuguese team, it started real well and then maybe dipped down a bit. Is that fair comment, Michael?
Yeah, they had a great start to the game. Couldn't have started any better for them to get themselves ahead. But they were conservative in their approach, I thought, after that. The Moroccans had a good reaction to going behind in the first half. But the second half of the game, I thought, was poor. Morocco never really looked like they could open Portugal up from open play. They had chances, half chances from set pieces. And as I said, Portugal were able to see the game out. But the second half was a bit of a disappointment overall.
Look, Richard, you can spin this 2 ways. Morocco created 16 scoring chances. They only hit the target 4 times. They had 54% of the ball. Now, credit to Morocco, or do you have a go at Portugal for giving them that much of the ball and allowing them to have those opportunities against bigger teams, more clinical teams? Portugal will be punished, surely.
There will be. Morocco aren't a creative team at all. You know, they've had the 2 games now, not managed to get a goal. So Portugal have a lot of work to do defensively. I think as a team, they don't seem to be organised at all. They drop too deep. They push up at the wrong times, and it doesn't look like it's organised correctly at the moment. But we've seen most of the corners that were coming in today. It was Ronaldo who was heading them wide, the near post. So if he has to do all the jobs, then that will be, I think, even too much for him.
Could go on goal as well, I suppose. Some very emotional shots for Morocco. Like, that is, look, you have the 2 games that their coach had a huge job to lift them. The manner in which they lost the game against Iran just sort of set the tone for today. They huffed and they puffed, but it just wasn't going to happen.
Exactly, and you know, when you look at it from their point of view, they've gone out of the tournament to an OG in a corner. They've conceded from a corner. That's what's cost them, for a team that came into the competition that didn't concede a goal. So it is, I can understand, you know, the reaction, the emotions that they have, because they'll look back and they'll think, how did we lose the game against Iran? And obviously they'll look back at today's game and think, you know, they probably should have taken something from the game. They'll look back at the set piece. I think they had grievances over the set piece. They felt that it was a foul by Pepe, where he runs into the player that's defending the front post area. I think the coach was having some sort of dialogue with the referee at half-time about that as well. So they probably have a grievance on that, you know, and these are the things that I suppose they'll look at and say, well, why did we not go to VAR in that situation and look at that? But it's a sad way to go out of the tournament, really, when you think of the nature of the goals you've conceded.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's awful, actually. Yeah, it really is.
You know, and that's it over, you know. 4 years, all the build-up, all the hype in your country to get there. And obviously, you know, it's an OG in a corner that puts you out.
Richard, what about Portugal going forward now? Because we began our show today talking about them as genuine contenders to win the World Cup. And when you looked at them, everybody can have a bad day, of course. But when you looked at them there, you're thinking, can they get their hands on that trophy in the middle of next month with that defence and a midfield that allows pressure on the defence?
It's not too dissimilar to what they've done at the Euros. You know, they're happy enough to do it, and they can play that way, and they're used to it. I think today they got in front very early, and they just contained Morocco. They didn't let them do that, and most of the chances they conceded were set pieces, which are going to cause most teams problems, I think, in this tournament. But he's the magic man in the whole thing. You know, without him it doesn't work, whatever. But he seems to have the rest of the team working for him, and that's why they can succeed, I think.
I'm sure, I suppose, Michael, why wouldn't they, considering the player he is?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, it was interesting today, the young lad Guedes that played alongside him, like, he almost looks intimidated playing with him, to be honest, you know. But Portugal will have to be better. I think it's very difficult in any of these tournaments, like, to pick a team that you say they can win it. You know, we haven't seen a team yet that you would say they're the team to beat. This tournament we've had some surprise results. The Germany result, for example, the Brazil result. You know, two of the most heavily favoured teams. But at this minute in time, I think for a lot of the teams, It's about just getting to the next phase of the tournament by whatever means possible. And I think that's the result of, you know, some of the games have, you know, reflected that.
Yeah. We're going to have a look at Ronaldo's day, and there's some magic stuff in this, and there's some not so magic stuff. And I suppose little bits and pieces, lads, you can describe this when we see it, that kind of things that drive people mad about Ronaldo. Just explain.
Yeah, well, this is the goal. Great cross in from Coutinho. And look, it's the desire to go and attack the ball. He's very brave. You know, he's putting his head in where people are putting their boots. And, you know, that determination to get there is probably what sets him apart. We've talked about his physical strength, his tactical ability, but his mental strength's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, he takes a lot of kicks, and this is the side that upsets people. He's got into that diving header like he didn't have a care in the world. A little tap on the foot, and it's just a roll after roll after roll. And he is obviously targeted, and he knows if he can get free kicks in certain areas, he's going down. And it's just the extra tumble each time. You don't need it. You don't understand it. And then we go back to his free kick. And
yeah, like, I mean, this one here, you expect him to do better. It's maybe a wee bit close for him. This is one where he actually gets up after rolling about on the ground, and the chance comes to him. Again, it's great. It's a really poor attempt. Great pass, and Ronaldo comes up and smashes it high and wide, and again another free kick where it goes into the wall.
And then a terrible tackle, nearly broke his leg.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing, it's like, we love him for what he does with the football, but it's the things like this, trying to get people sent off. You're supposed to be playing the same game and against people that you should respect, and he just thinks it's all for him. I mean, there's a slight touch, but...
There's contact there, though, guys.
Yeah, but not to throw his arms in the air.
There's contact there is contact, but you cannot say that the contact justifies the means and how he's gone down. The reaction is thing, and we talked about it with Pepe as well, didn't we? The reaction of Pepe at times, it's something that really it puts you off the Portuguese team. I think a little bit, you know. I mean, I think they're worse for it than, say, other European teams, to be honest.
Yeah, but I suppose, look, everywhere this match is being watched in the world today, and there's a lot of places. You know, studio discussions like this will be about him, and that's the way I would imagine he loves it.
Yeah, we were talking while the game was on and saying about, it's like everyone's being brought to Russia to play the World Cup just for him, so he can go and win it, and he can go and have a celebration and then be happy, because I don't think he sees that another than himself, and everyone else around him was just little pawns playing his game.
Well, he will say, and every Portuguese fan will say, well, how bad?
Totally, yeah, exactly. You know, as I say, they're looking at the opening two games. They've played Spain, they've played Morocco. They look at Iran as an easier game, and as the easiest game on paper. So they've got 4 points. They're in a great position. And as I say, I think they'll believe that they'll get better as the tournament progresses.
Yeah. Morocco, and we mentioned the numbers with the chances that they had, Richard, and there were many of them. And belief. They didn't have that belief deep down that they were going to score.
No, and it was similar to the first game. They had lots of chances and possession, but they don't get enough men in the box with enough conviction. They're all in there. They're stood there waiting. There's no...
Yeah,
there's nothing to it, you know what I mean? It's
not a lot of movement, and
yeah.
This was typical of a lot of the chances. It's a great save here, Patricio. I think actually it comes off Ronaldo in the end, to be honest. It's a tiny flick. I think it eventually, last touch possibly off Ronaldo. Patricio makes a great save, to be honest, and that was probably the closest they came to scoring.
But this was their best chances, was set pieces, trying to get the ball in, but they'd go from a good ball in to a bad ball in. It was just the inconsistency was all over the place, and should have done better really with the header there.
Look, they're all they're all free kicks. A lot of them are second free. Portugal were poor, and there was a lot of this from Portugal where they weren't clearing it. They're hitting first man. You know, for example, we saw one where Pepe kneed it onto his hand and could have, you know, they didn't defend the wide free kicks particularly well, Portugal, at all, and that's what created the chances for Morocco. It's something they look back on and say, well, look, you know, against better opposition, if they do that better opposition, you would expect to take more of those opportunities.
I think when you watch Portugal defend them, they drop deep because they're not watching the ball, they're just watching the players trying to block them, and so often then the ball hits them and drops down, and then they have to react to the second ball. You don't have someone who'll just go and head that first ball away, apart from possibly Ronaldo.
Like the dangers and the risks that they're taking. Now maybe they won't defend like that in the next game, in the last 16 if they get there, all that sort of thing, you know, but you're just inviting problems for yourself, surely.
Massively, yeah. They can't do it. I mean, Morocco can't score a goal to save their lives, but they're giving away these opportunities, and once the better team gets it, they will be in trouble. And I can't understand it, because the ball's there to be won. They're all big lads at the back, and they just wait and they push and they try to foul different people, and eventually they'll come across.
If Santos looks back at the game, which obviously they will do, and they'll look back at the opportunities that Morocco had, they'll see the pattern of the game and say, look, we need to stop giving away free kicks in this area, and if we do give them away, we need to we need to defend them better than what we have. It wasn't like they were defending against a team with a real aerial threat either, like a real big physical presence, you know, and they didn't you know, deal with it, clear their lines, as we'd say, with any real conviction, and you know, so I think when they look back at that, they'll recognise that they need to improve in that area.
What about the stuff from Morocco? We saw some good opportunities there and creating chances and stuff, but the play that wasn't so good.
Yeah, I felt there was at times a lot of anxiety in their play, which is natural. You know, they're knowing coming into the game that they have to win the game to stay in the tournament, or certainly not lose the game. It's again a poor example. Free kicks were mixed. This was, you know, easy enough for Patricio to come and take this, and they just, you know, they had good possession here. Again, a pass. Does he need to play that as direct and as long as he does? I think the coach, you can see the body language of the coach that, you know, they ran out of ideas. They really ran out of ideas.